Bravo.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Right. So that was a really good introduction to this episode, which we're continuing to call it a journey of a lifetime, because it is a journey, of course.
It's like a Journey's End.
Yeah, like Journey's End.
Journey's End.
Yeah. What we're going to do is, like before, guys, like we'll do our introductions and then we can kick it off and talk Doctor Who and Autism. So, Jason, I'm going to start with you, as you are the piano player here. So, if you want to do your introduction first.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Jason Vince, 20 years of age, live in Blackpool, and I'm a musician now. So.
Yeah. The next composer of Doctor Who. Yeah.
An add-on to Doctor Who, yes.
Yeah. We look forward to seeing you when the next Doctor comes along then. But yeah, so Alex, do your introduction.
Yeah, so I'm Alex. I'm 17. I live in Stoke-on-Trent, and I'm basically at college. So
yeah,
all good fun.
Yeah, all good fun.
Oh yeah, all good fun.
Isn't it like it's the holidays now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the holidays right now.
Yeah,
that's good fun.
Yeah, good fun. Mikey.
Hello, everyone. I am back here to join within this wacky adventure. Well, I'm Mikey Lugo. I'm the creator of Mikey's Man of Color and Dr. Mikey, which is a tribute to Doctor Who. Basically, I'm an artist and I do weird nonsense. And I have been invited onto this podcast or interview thingy-majiggy. I don't know what I can even call it. But yeah.
Yeah, so Mikey, tell us, what was it like about meeting David Tennant?
Oh, God, Lord. Meeting David Tennant was actually a challenge because he was supposed to be on getting to there on Saturday, but he decided to do it on Sunday because he had something personal on Saturday that was being done and dealt with. So I had to get to see if we were going to meet him again. And it turned out there was a chance. And me and my friends got to meet David Tennant. David Tennant, God Lord, it felt surreal. It felt surreal at first. I thought it was a dream. Then it became a reality. It really did. I was so like, did this really happen? Did this shit happen? Did I meet fucking David Tennant? Did I just? It was surreal. Me and my sister, we were just so shocked that we gotten to see him and stuff. It was bonkers. And David was lovely. I given him the letter. I made him a thing, which that goes for the others who I met or saw at Comic-Con. I had to tell David to keep eyes on the envelope, scan the QR code, keep the thing in your hands safe. Don't let it get destroyed or nothing. Yes, if anyone on my side of things, probably if anyone is watching this, I think you all know about the QR code and the letter and stuff. I've given the same thing to David Tennant, so don't worry. I think it's safe with him. But yeah, David is fun.
Yeah, it sounds good. Like that you've met David Tennant. Did you have a little chat with him or anything?
Well, it was just a quick photo op. I had to only make quick couple of words to tell him. The only words that I said to David was, look at the envelope, look at the thing. And, well, at first I was saying, oh my God, it's you. And he said, hi there or something. And I was like, I need to say these words correctly before I lose time. So I was like, David, I need you to look at this envelope. I hope you can open it whenever you have the time. This QR code, all the stuff in the envelope is going to take you to a long rabbit hole, which I hope David eventually gets to the link to my YouTube channel, or at least some of the stuff that I have. which the thing is, over the weekend I did get like well, actually over the time at Fan Expo, I did post a full image that I made and with the QR code as well. And it's on my community tab as we speak. Still, you can still scan the thing and it leads to an unlisted video, which I had to make it interactive for everyone to at least to join and see. And I hope David got the thing by then, of course, if he knows how to scan the thing.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it's a good experience that you've met another doctor.
Yeah, the goal is still being made because I was thinking for a bit and I told my sister and she was like, I think at one point she was like, she was gonna be done with the cons, but I told her, wait, I think we should still do these things, but we gotta at least encounter some of the other doctors because I don't know if like Jody or Joe Martin or Shuchi Gatwa or any of the, you know, newer doctors would eventually come around because the thing is, I have met all of 9 to 12, and I think at this point we need to reach to the new goal, meaning 13th, Ruth, and Shuchigatra, that is the 14th. Basically, even if they do, I know Jody does cons, but I don't know if Joe Martin or friggin', well, I think Joe Martin does Comic Cons. Do they? Like, does Joe does con?
I've seen her in one. She's been at one that I know of.
Oh, okay. I just needed that to be confirmed because I was thinking that Joe wouldn't do con, but I don't know if Shuti would do it. I don't know because until he
probably might.
Yeah, I hope he does come to America, or I think he did. I don't know. I hope he like does these conventions and like, you know, participate within the fandom itself. Bro,
Yeah.
that'll be amazing.
I mean, I would love to have met Tom Baker at some point, but
Yeah.
He's
That
still
was-
alive though.
Yeah, he is still alive. Yeah.
he is still alive because he came in for the 50th, which was what, 10 years ago. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. I want to meet Tom Baker. Like,
I mean, Tom Baker is my favorite doctor of all time.
yeah, I've heard a thing that Tom Baker doesn't want to come to America. I don't know if that's true or so. Like, I've been hearing some stuff about that. I don't know. It just sounds like a rumor to me. But
To be fair,
because
old people don't really like to travel much.
yeah. I was just like sitting on that rumor for a bit, and I was thinking, I don't know if Tom Baker did
Which
came
is
to.
kind of ironic if people don't like to travel much because he was the doctor traveling to unknown universes. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was thinking that people would like have like a grudge or, you know, a thing with Tom, but I don't think it's that. But I think it's just that Tom Baker is maybe doing like his own things and probably whenever he ever wants to come to America or something or some
I think
stuff.
he's probably just retired from TV now anyway.
Well, he does stuff. The only things that I know for a fact that he still does is some cameos a little bit within Doctor Who for a bit, or at least write some books. I know for a fact that Tom Baker did a thing called the Scratch Man. Yeah, Scratch Man. I've heard about that. I don't have the book, but I've heard a bunch of people were talking about it at one
Well,
point.
then again, you could always just retire from TV and start writing books. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they can do that, you know, like
Yeah.
if any of you do get a chance, I'll do it to meet Tom Baker, or like if he goes to one of his events, I would advise maybe just bring out a pack of jelly babies and just say, do you want a jelly baby?
Tempting with jelly babies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
Would you like a jelly baby?
Yeah,
Would you like a jelly baby?
You care for a jelly baby.
but that would be fun. But who knows? Like, he might do a cameo because again in Doctor Who for the 60th maybe because he did that for the 50th.
Yeah, he made a star appearance.
Yeah,
Like a special guest sort of thing that no one knew about for the 50th, which was quite cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good surprise.
which
Yeah.
actually leads up to some part of the conspiracy theory with David Tennant, actually.
Yeah.
It's the 50th anniversary leading to the 60th and everything about David.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I think it is going to be about David, kind of the 60th. He's going to be the prime kind of thing that it's going to be about. And like I think in Jodie's last episode,
There is a theory going on with David. People are actually believing that instead of Nietzsche, David's going to be the 14th, like he's returning as an old face.
Makes
Because
sense from
hence
Tom
why-
Baker, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but then Tom Baker has said at the end of the 50th, you might find yourself revisiting a few faces, but just the old favourites. People have wanted David Tennant to be the Doctor again. Now that he's popped into the 60th, his screwdriver's changed, his clothes changed, he's seen outside outside Jodie's TARDIS instead of his own. His companions is Donna again, and Donna's daughter, which is Rose Tyler, played by a different person.
Yeah, it feels surreal as well because
So
here's
so the theory is going that instead of Nietzsche Guaiti being the 14th Doctor, Nietzsche's just doing it as a publicity stunt because David Tennant's actually going to be the 14th Doctor, is what the theory goes.
Yeah, funny enough, I've heard some stuff when I know there was a panel for David Tennant. If anyone did saw the video, that was like a panel for Fan Expo Boston 2022 for David Tennant. There was a panel talking about like new stuff that was mentioned, and there was like multiple people who were filming stuff. That's what I've heard. And again, I wasn't at the panel at the time. I was still here getting ready and stuff. Then me and my sister were running out of the house. So basically, apparently, I think in the beginning of the panel, I think they were like talking about the 60th or something. And David was like, I think was so secretive. He didn't want to talk about it that much. And the only thing he did say, I think there was two or one things that he talked about the 60th. That is, he worked indoors with other people we may knew that would return. That would hint like we may revisit some faces that are from the show's history or so, or probably we're gonna get more stuff that we never not expect, of course.
Yeah.
yeah,
And to remind you, this is all in Boston, all at Fan Expo and stuff.
yeah, I think that there are just like Dave says that there's things on the actual set that they do privately that no one sees. So I reckon there'll be people on that set that.
Well, I mean, even
Something
Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies have both said this special or this 60th anniversary is going to be so secretive because they want to make it pop.
Yeah, and I've been seeing that with David. He's very excited, and I know that in fact, I think he's just teasing us around with it. Like, I know he was jumping with the gun when I was hearing about the panel and shit. And my friend Joseph, he was sending me videos and stuff of what was going on at the panel or something. He sent me when I got into the con, Joseph goes, one of my friends, he sent me a video about the David Tennant panel for a bit. It's a clip, not like anything else. There was a bunch of questions and stuff, and it was like Doctor Who and DuckTales and stuff. And I think majority of the people have been maybe asking for the 60th for a bit, but yeah, it led to the same questions and stuff, which I'm sus about. Which I'm excited for what's coming for the 60th, of course.
So I don't think I've ever been this excited since Chibnall came in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Chibnall came in, wrote Doctor Who. It was shit, I have to say that. And now the 60th coming up, and it sounds a lot better than it ever did with the series of Jodie.
I will respect your opinion, my friend. I will respect your opinion. I do like Jodie's.
Don't get me wrong. Jodie was a brilliant Doctor. She played it well. She looked well. She acted well.
Indeed.
Right.
Yeah.
Chibnall's writing wasn't really the best. Like, his series didn't make any sense at the start. They were misled. They had no point. You know, and it was sort of like, what are you trying to get at? What's the Doctor trying to do here? Whereas Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat had more of a plot twist and more of an idea and had more points to go into the actual episodes and series.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's so funny that as like the time is over the past time being, I've been seeing more appreciation for Series 11 because when it got released, like this is like before like all of this, I think a lot of people over time changed their opinions and their stuff for Jodie's first seasons because again, it's been almost 5
Jodie's first season was poor.
Yeah, it was poor
I
and
really
all.
don't like it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I do like it, but I think as time passed, I think everyone has like a feeling for it. I don't know if anybody has still a grudge.
The writing's so bad for Jodie's first series. It made no sense.
She's been dead unlucky with the writing, to be honest.
I think with Jodie's first series, it was the way it was done was because to bring people into the show that didn't have to watch past seasons. I think that was what they thought about that, and then because there was no plot or kind of storyline, it was almost like every episode was separate. And then when they did series 12, they kind of thought, let's do a storyline to it, and then they did that with series 13 too. So I guess series 11 is poor, but
series 12 was the storyline plotting up to Jodie being the timeless child.
Yeah.
Series 13 was the plot going up to Jodie becoming a weeping angel and the flux in the universe, which made no sense to me.
Well,
like Chibnall didn't explain where the flux came from. He didn't explain what the flux was. He didn't explain those two aliens trying to create the flux.
The thing is, I felt like Chibnall wanted us, the audience, to figure out where this stuff came from.
I've written episodes for my fan film before, and when you write an episode, you have to go into detail on what you want the viewers to have an understanding of. Oh, why is this happening? Right, well, we'll lead down that road. Why has that happened? Right, we'll go down that road. Chibnall wasn't doing that. He was so focused on writing Doctor Who, he didn't actually have any clue on actually explaining what's going on in the series. And that was series 13. He didn't explain why Jodie became the Weeping Angel. He didn't explain why the flux happened in the first place. He didn't explain the two aliens who were creating the flux.
Yeah. I think
he didn't even explain this woman who got turned into the alien by the other alien. He didn't explain who she was.
Yeah, there's like a lot of things that were thrown around, but I'll give you my take on this. I personally think that Chibnall wanted us to figure out and putting pieces together because again, we are the fans.
You can't really put pieces together without knowing what's going on. It's like Chibnall's taken a strawberry and a banana and expecting to make a banoffee pie.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. But I think it's just the fact that he wants to maybe let us know and look back at the other stuff for a bit or something.
Yeah, but you can't let someone know without giving them the details first.
Yeah. Again,
he didn't explain any of that in series 13.
Yeah, and the thing is, even though I liked the episodes and all, I felt like it was confusing. But again, at least there was some explanation for Joe Martin's appearance within series 13, which I do like how they like referenced that Jodie or something was the Ruth Doctor and stuff.
He didn't even explain how Jack came back.
I mean, I think there was one plot line or something. I don't know. The Doctor Who universe is big, but I think there was a thing that was making Jack to come back. I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of things that were from Tennant's error, or at least some other errors were leading up to some of this stuff. I mean,
it's like you had Stephen Moffat or Russell T Davis with 2-parters or 3-parters on some episodes explaining leading up to what's going on, right? And then
Yeah.
obviously you'll be on the edge of your seat on part 1, and then you want to watch part 2 because you want to know what happens. Chibnall did none of that. He wrote an episode, you're on the edge of your seat, you want to know what happens, so you wait for the next episode. The next episode comes, it makes no sense. It has no tying to the previous episode. His series made no sense.
What I do like about Chibnall, I don't think he's all bad. I think
No, he's not bad, but
I think that it's not like, I think like the writing's not as good as like past series and stuff, but I think it was a big change, I think, for the whole of the Doctor Who, because they changed everything when Jodie come in, and like he's written some really good stories in the past. I felt like
he has written episodes for Peter, Matt, and David. Fair enough.
yeah.
They were good. And I'm not hating Chibnall, and I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying his writing for Series 13 and 12 probably made no sense. There was no plot twist, and there was no storyline building up.
I just think
you didn't have any understanding to it.
I just think all of like Chibnall's era was basically like Series 6, just all over the place. It's just everywhere.
I think
I don't think anyone liked Chibnall's writing, to be honest. No offense to the guy himself. He probably wrote shows better than Series 12 and 13, but
yeah, I just like it hasn't like worked out, but there is going to be like within a series, like you go back to David Tennant and that Smith kind of things, and like you have that plot and then it kind of resolved towards the end. And I think towards maybe in Jodie's, like like there was no plot in Series 11, but from Series 12, I think it was a Times thing that went into Series 13, and then you had to watch that was chucked down the TARDIS. So I understand like writing's not good in that kind of sense, that the storyline's not getting answered at the end.
But it's like when I was explaining about me writing my own fan film. When I start to write the story, I explain where the Doctor is, or she is. I explain what's happening, where he is. Then I explain why the aliens have come to Earth, or why the aliens are on Earth. Then I explain what the aliens want to do. And then you go into the battle. And then you start writing, oh, the Doctor does this to the aliens, the Doctor does that, or the aliens do this to the Doctor, or the aliens do that to his companion. Chibnall just went straight into the story, just went straight into the moment. He had no build-up.
Yeah, I get that. Actually, funny enough, I'm still currently writing like for my band series, like for my Doctor, of course. I know I had to reboot the universe for a bit because it was complicated at first when I was showing the Doctor. It was so hard when I done my Doctor for the first time. I was young. I didn't know how to write. I was imagining things. I was like imagining it all.
I knew how to write scripts because I've been writing songs for a while.
Yeah.
Hence why I've got one on the minute. But
yeah, it's just I think the way I thought about my Doctor was like art and like in picture form. It's like my drawings and stuff. It's just I imagine words within drawings, and it was totally different. And I think over the time being with college, like learning about how to write stuff more better, I started to think more better and writing down stuff for my Doctor and for the characters that I write. I think in my podcast, I explained to Mason that I've taken time to make these things, and it was a challenge. It was something to do. And I think over the past time being, even though that people have been wanting more content, which it's taking time, at least let me write a couple things. If I had to rewrite or something because of the canon or whatever, I had to at least look back at the list and see what I need to pick and choose.
I mean,
And
I've done that. I've done that before, where I'm writing an episode and I've had to rewrite it several times because it didn't sound the way I wanted it.
oh yeah. Oh really? Here, let me tell you this. For the first episode for the reboot thingy-majiggy, which I'm not gonna spoil that much, I had to rewrite it at least 4 to 3 times
Yeah.
on 3 times on Google Document, and I did it on friggin' fucking paper. Paper was I did my writing the best that I can, and let's just say I had to translate all the writing to digital, and it was a challenge. It was a challenge to say
But
at least.
sometimes that's the best way you can do it. You can plot your ideas onto pen and paper first, and before you type it up.
Yeah, because like literally, like when you're trying to like write a story or something, it's like you had to make it, some sort of sense.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, and it's very complicated because with my stuff, it's a rabbit hole. Many people will try to understand it or put pieces together. And again,
Yeah.
and it's just challenging. And I had to at least make like a couple documents for Darken. I mean, Mason, I think you know what Darken is. I had to like make a whole ass recap document for Mikey's Amount of Color, and it was a big one. It actually took me a couple months to make. No
Wow.
joke. It was a challenge. I was like, you know what? Let's start this. And I took in breaks then by then because I was doing college. I was dealing with stuff. And I was like at least looking at the canon because I wanted to at least keep the canon safe and probably make the right words that I was needing to say. And I had to at least get some of my friends' helps to throw suggestions at me. And it was like this, that, this, that, this, that. Pick pieces that are very important. Throw away the pieces that aren't very important. Unless if you want to bring the pieces back in that are very important, then yes, it will eventually make sense. And again, does go involved with ARG creating as well. Because like if you want something that is good that is part of the canon, make it very important. If something is not related to the canon or if it's not that important, just save it on for later. And I think it will come later on, but it won't happen at the moment. That's what I personally believe, of
I
course.
mean, that's what I'm doing at the song I'm writing at the minute. I'm picking and choosing what parts I want to go into the verses and the choruses, and then I go on to my melody.
Yeah. And I think that when it comes to like, like the universe or the multiverses that we make, it does take a lot of time. It actually takes a lot of care to put into, because I know for a fact that some people has their own universes that takes time to build up like moments and stuff. And I mean, in comparing to the people who are high budget Hollywood studios or something trying to make their own cinematic universe, which I know there's like I know there's an MCU, a DCU, or whatever the hell it is. I know the thing is we've kind of formed our little universe of our own within YouTube and stuff. And I've heard many people have been saying about the Mikey cinematic universe. I think that's like a running joke within my community. Like whenever I merged with someone else's shit, it was like, oh, it's the Mikey cinematic universe. I'm like, uh-oh, another joke has been formed or something. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that is great, Mikey. Like we talked about before about like your universe that you create, and you're always adapting to it and drawing new stuff. So, it's good. Like,
Yeah,
you're doing good.
yeah, it's good. It's challenging because the thing is, like, I had to recanon Mikey's Amount of Color for a bit because there was someone in the thing, which I'm not gonna name, I'm not gonna put shit out. I had to kick that person out throughout the canon and stuff because they were doing some things that I didn't like. I'll just say they are just rude people and stuff. I had to kick them out. I had to fix up the whole canon. There was a whole thing that was gonna be planned and all, but it got destroyed and stuff. I had to at least, change some things. I had to at least take a break for Darken for a bit and change some little silly stuff. That's when I was mentally drained. I think in my podcast, if anyone did watch my podcast, go watch my podcast, of course. I hinted out about the burnouts and Mr. Void and why I made them and all, because at the time I was friggin' stressed out and shit. I was like on the verge of like mental episode mode. It was just like it was like I was in my own thing, and I decided to create these two characters because they were like a part of myself that I was like going through stuff. And
I know.
Yeah.
I know it's like going down that road, and Hex, that's why I made this song. It sounds a bit depressing, but I've been down that road, and this song's just a road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just need to finish it now.
Yeah. The thing is, for Mr. Void, I felt like he was a misunderstood character, because the thing is, like with the burnouts as well, for both of the characters, the burnouts are just like, you know, actual burnouts. I remember there was a comment, or at least a thing in the podcast live chat saying something, it's about doubts or whatever, and it's not a burnout. Yeah, we have our own take on what a burnout is, but from my perspective of what a burnout is, basically like, I imagine that people are so stressed out or feeling mixed or emotional, or at least not thinking correctly. It's just leads to them feeling so like run out of energy, out of thought, and like don't have a process. That's what I believe a burnout is, to my point of view. So I decided to create these creatures, the burnouts, as a way of, you know, not to get killed by these creatures, or not, you know, get your brain sucked out of the life of misery. Also for Mr. Void, God Lord, I felt like the funniest thing is I felt like everyone was I think everyone was questioning Mr. Void. I remember when people were throwing shit, and I remember they were all being suspicious. I'll throw an Among Us joke. They were all sus about him. It was funny as at first, but then everyone was catching on to the page that Mr. Void is like this villain who this, well, at first he looked good, but later on he became a villain. Then then he started shit. Mr. Void was like starting chaos in his, so he wanted to take over my channel. He used me as a puppet. I felt like he was misunderstood. Well, the character himself, he was misunderstood, and I felt like people were trying to at least understand where he was coming from. And I had to make points. I had to make points of where he came from, and it was like too personal stuff that I had to explain, which it was very complicated, because I know half of this was real life, half of this is fiction. But with the fiction that I told, it was like, it was easy, but at the same time, it was with the logic that was within my universe and how I mentally made it. It was like Mr. Void was this anomaly, this creature. We can't even say if it's a Mikey or not. I'm not gonna say it's true species, because I think all of you would have to speculate on what Mr. Void is. And yeah. But yeah, he's this anomaly. He's this anomaly that is misunderstanding like the universe, or at least trying to understand the humans, but at the same time, he's misunderstood with everything around him. And I felt like he was causing a lot of trouble and trying to see if he can get people off of their bones or whatever. That would be like, you know, pushing them, or like calling them out, or at least, well, I think not that much calling out, but I think it's whatever the point, he's just brutally honest, which I'm still afraid and shocked how the hell I managed to make him more honest than like, you know, fake. It was to the point where many people were questioning the character itself, which and I think like, you know what, I think I had to get like a character development for Mr. Void, where he has to be like, you know, real with everything, and like how he is as a character himself. He knows that this universe is fiction. All the characters that I have know that this universe is fiction. Basically, it's a meta thing that's been within me for a very long time. It's like they know they're fake. They know they are like, you know, like this is a thing for YouTube and all. They know it's a series. They know it's lore or whatever. Matter of fact, if you even see Darkin referring to any of the stuff in the boards or stuff, he is referring to actual stuff that needs to be get done and stuff, and not want to be lazy or lacking. So I wanted to hint that within the lore itself, it actually makes more silly nonsense. I decided to add that element that this is just an illusion or some shit to make it more sense, you know?
Yeah, Yeah, like, because before we talked about, like, you relate like autism into it as well, Mikey. So it's really good that you spend a lot of your time making all these different characters and adapting them and everything.
Yeah, it's something, and I think that many people were so confused because I remember people were saying shit about my stuff, saying it's not making sense or any other stuff, and I was like, it's supposed to not to make sense unless if you want to make it nonsense. I mean, the thing is with my stuff, it may look weird or crazy or whatever, but you have to at least enjoy the nonsense. There is going to be some sense in the thing, but you had to enjoy the nonsense to get to, the common sense. You had to enjoy everything that you can,
That's right.
join the fun. Yeah. And it's just like, I know people want a perfect story and all, but I think they have to enjoy the fun first before to getting to the serious stuff. That's what I believe.
That's right. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Like it's good talking about like people writing. Like you write your own stuff and you make your own stuff, but it takes a lot of your time, I guess, as well, though.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
it does.
I mean, I've been stuck on this song for a week now. Trying to write melodies and lyrics and whatever. I mean, I rewrote it twice already. So
Yeah. I watched a video yesterday of I think it's in 2013 when Murray Gold was kind of explaining like writing different kind of music for different doctors, because of course he done it from Christopher Eccleston until Peter Capaldi leaving, and he kind of it's interesting like to hear how he thinks about like these different tunes, like and he does it all, like he's got his little keyboard like you do, Jason, and he's playing all these different songs, and it's really cool, like something to get into as well.
it is. I mean, music is an easy way to pursue your feelings. I mean, that's what I do with songs. I write down my feelings during the day, and if I think they're worth putting into a song, that's what I do. I make it into a song.
Yeah, Jason, I can agree with you. Like, I feel like with people and us humans within the community itself, I feel like we take our time to put our feelings within the things that we make. And we get a sense that people will try to understand how we feel as humans because they think we may be, happy all the time, which I do want to be more happy all the time again. But I think for all of us, we express ourselves within these projects or at least these songs and stuff, then people will, I think, understand,
Yeah, like it's really important because like I listen to music all the time, especially I love theme tunes. I do like theme tunes, and I it helps me, like for me it helps me like write stuff, like because of course when I do a podcast episode for like you, Mikey, like all of you've already been on once, I have to think, what am I going to call the episode, what am I going to write on the episode, and that is pretty hard work, and how I think of it is like in my head now I already know what the episode's going to be called as soon as we speak it. So like like I think, oh look, that guest used that word, that's really, really cool, and then I listen to, I have a Murray Gold, like I open my YouTube up and then I open another YouTube up so I can put a theme track that I can listen to kind of get me in the mood, because you've got to be in the mood, haven't you, to write stuff.
You really have to be in the mood. I mean, it's a little different when you're writing songs because when you're playing, you don't want to hear anything else going on. You just want to hear what you're playing. But I mean, if you're gaming or you're writing, I mean, music really does help. So it helps in many shapes or forms. When you're down, when you're happy, when you're doing something, when you're cleaning, when you're writing, it helps in many forms. And I've pursued it in what I hope to be a career.
Yeah. You know what? I say this because right now I just put it on my Minecraft music because I think the thing is, I think you guys know the game Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
You guys know.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. The thing is, whenever I listen to the music of the game, it really brings a lot of like emotions to me, to key points in my life where I was happy, mad, sad, or whatever. And I feel like there's so much power within this music. Hell, I think the most popular thing is like
I mean,
Sweden.
music tells more a story than a video or a picture. To how heavy the drum sounds, to how lightly the piano is played, to how rocky the guitar is, or you know, it is how you play a certain instrument depending on your mood explains how the song is feeling. So I could play the piano very slowly and calmly and you think it's sad, or I can bash a drum against it so and you think I'm angry.
Yeah.
Music has more emotion and power than probably TV shows and pictures. You know, you can tell a story out of a TV show or a picture, fair enough, but you can never tell a story out of music the way music pursues.
Yeah, but I think like I know for a fact that whenever I hear to the freaking Minecraft thing, it really does like put emotions to me. Hell, even like the slow reverb or like edited versions that people make, it really brings a sense of like nostalgia or memory. It clicks that brain because the most popular songs that I know for the fact are on the Minecraft album, for its first album, are like Sweden, Subwoofer, something called Subwoofer Lullaby, and Mice on Venus. I think those are like the most popular things. I don't know what else is popular, and I think it depends on how much the views and stuff and how much impact that everyone got into with the music. But I think that like Sweden and Mice on Venus is the most important thing as well. Like it really is. Like you see the amount of impact of music that inspired a bunch of people saying this is nostalgia. I relate to nostalgia and stuff. Like literally, if you even see a freaking edit with Mice on Venus or Sweden or any of the music from Minecraft with like images and like animations and stuff, you'll get a sense of sad, happy memories and all of this stuff that you'll ever imagine. You'll feel like you're in the moment and presence.
Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like you have I love when I listen to new songs as well. I always like listen to the same ones, but you know when you get a new song, you just listen to it all the time. You know, you have that one song you always put on all the time.
Yeah.
So guys, before we finish, is there anything that anyone else wants to say before we finish it up?
I'm gonna let Jason speak. Jason, do you have anything to say?
I've got nothing.
Well, you know what? Actually, I will say this. I enjoyed coming back here. It really does that I get to talk about more my side and how I see things differently with music, of course.
I mean, I could add on to that note. Yes, I did enjoy coming back for a second time. Well, third time, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the third time. Yeah, third time. Yeah, this is the third time.
Yeah, for a third time. So
yeah.
second time playing the piano for you.
Yeah, and I guess this is for stories and stuff. Do you know what? Mason, you can always bring me back to anything, to any of like I will give life updates. I will eventually do more of that. Like you know what? I think for this podcast, I feel like I could always tell a story or something for my life for a bit. And it really does, make me happy that you want to always bring me onto these things. It's an amazing thing. And I get to tell some of the stuff that I really enjoy and stuff.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, Mikey, and Jason as well, because there's always different things that come along. Like there's always within the podcast. It's not just going to be this Doctor Who and Autism series forever. There is eventually an end.
Oh God!
Like there is a journey. Like we said at the beginning, a journey's end. Like it don't go on forever. Which is why we're doing at the moment reunion episodes with people who want to come back and talk to me again.
Yeah.
Make it sound like you're lonely, Mason.
Yeah. I think we all are in the way, aren't we, a little bit? But yeah, that like, I this Doctor Who and Autism series, I think it will be back, but maybe not every few years or something. But Doctor Who's always going to be within the podcast because Hobbies is within it and different stuff. So we'll definitely.
But then again, you could always go down a different series route with Doctor Who. You know, say what's your favorite series or whatever. Doctor Who. There's so many ideas you could do with it. So
yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, like, some of my friends have been throwing ideas for podcasts and stuff, and yeah. Oh yeah, you know what? I got a message from you, Mason, saying that my episode was like the most highest episode.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and I guess it's because of my audience, and I get everyone. I think it's from everyone's side, from my side or something, and they enjoyed the presence. It was. I think it gives a lot of love and care that you invited me to the thing, and it's just, it was something. Even some of my ARG friends, all my other friends from other communities, even from like the art ARG, the other side of things, they love the podcast.
It was great. Like there will be, like, of course there'll be different opportunities to always come back, you know. So yeah, like there'd be other series, like with, like, of course Doctor Who is not the main priority of the podcast, but Hobbies is as well. So I thought it was a good chance to get people who have autism who don't. Some people talking about dyspraxia, so it's a really good kind of thing, you know. But to finish it up, Jason, do you want to play the piano like a Doctor Who tune again? Or
any other specific song you want?
Didn't you play like I Am the Doctor before? Like last time we did it.
I tried, but I haven't got the chords for it.
What other Doctor Who ones can you do? Like,
it's just the intro.
Yeah, so do the intro again then, and then we can finish it with the intro.
Do you think I can help you as well with the
Yeah, let's do it, Mikey. Hey, we did it. Well, thanks Jason, and thanks Mikey for that lovely sing a song.
Yeah. Wait, I just realized we just lost one of the guests out here.
Oh yeah,
we did. I thought they was going to come back with internet connection, but maybe not.
I guess they went. I guess they got distracted or something.
Maybe. But yeah, I don't think there's anything more else to say, guys. But it's been great to meet you again.
It was great to see you again. If you ever want me to be, if you ever want to catch around with me, let me know.
Yeah, I definitely will, Mikey. It's been great, and we're all doing this again.